If you had to boil the climate crisis down to one single issue, it would probably be energy. We will be looking at some of the ways we can reduce dependence on fossil fuels with the help of the sun and the wind. Welcome to EcoAfrica. I am Sandra Kahomza Twinobdio, right here in Kampala, Uganda.
And I am Chris Alems in Lagos, Nigeria. Nice to have you with us. Our show today is packed with interesting and informative reports. So let's get started with a brief look at what we have coming up. A woman in Uganda who's dedicated her life to wildlife conservation. A mini wind turbine inspired by nature. And how smallholder farmers in northern Ghana are making the most of traditional knowledge. But first to South Africa, which continues to struggle with a severe power crisis. Blackouts are commonplace. The problems are partly due to aging energy infrastructure. And with coal still dominating the energy mix, a transition to greener options is urgently needed. Of course, the country is blessed with sunshine all year round, and slowly but surely, that's helping South Africa finally get its lights back on.
Things are happening in South Africa's solar sector. The country is finally manufacturing its own solar modules in this plant, which EnergyAfrica opened in Cape Town in 2023. The workforce is women only. The company wants to set an example in an industry that's male-dominated. The solar panels produced here are also different. They're smaller than usual and also more affordable. The company hopes its home field advantage will give it a competitive edge over imported panels.
What makes us special is that we are able to get the raw materials in cheaper. Then we are able to manufacture the products locally, which cuts down on the price. And then it's also easier for us to distribute to our other warehouses that are situated in Malawi and all the other places in Africa.
South Africa has seen a massive growth in its solar industry over the past few years, but it comes with a hefty price tag. The majority of these solar panels are imported, over $600 million worth so far this year. While most of the solar industry's growth is in the business and residential sectors, people living in informal settlements without access to legal electricity can now also benefit from the locally produced panels. This single 50-watt panel produced by EnergyAfrica's women-run factory costs less than $20 and includes a power bank and LED panel. Candles used to be Robert Young's only source of light. Now he finally has other options.
You're really limited in what you can do. Even cooking's a hassle. And with this light will give me, if it's fully charged, it'll burn right through the night till the following morning. I can read by it. I can clean. I can do odd jobs and what have you. I can do reparations on things like that, which I was limited to do before.
More than 80% of South Africa's energy is produced by coal-fired power stations. But aging infrastructure and mismanagement at state-owned power company Eskom has resulted in rolling blackouts. Load shedding has become part of daily life. Sometimes there are over 10 hours of outages a day, a significant cost to the economy. Eskom, which has strong links to the government, has long had a monopoly of selling electricity. But the solar sector hopes that the energy crisis is forcing the government to focus more on renewables.
I think with the struggling grid and with the struggling utility at the moment, they've got no other choice but to promote renewable energy and actually jump on board. But yes, I think slowly but surely the wheels are turning to promote renewable energy in South Africa.
As the solar industry continues to expand, so do opportunities. A provider of building integrated photovoltaics, ACES Africa, has developed an academy to train and certify solar installers for the workforce, providing potential employment opportunities. In a country with nearly 33% unemployment, these opportunities are definitely welcome.
It serves you well and it gives you qualification and certification as a solar installer, and with a few other career opportunities also that is available for you.
One of the major drivers of the country's uptick in solar has come from private industry securing its own solutions to the worsening power crisis. At this facility, cakes, croissants and rolls are baked in ovens and then frozen, stored and shipped for the retail sector 24 hours a day. Baking and freezing both require a lot of power. Several years ago, the company installed their first solar array and now they are looking to expand their renewable energy capacity.
We started off by utilizing just power generated throughout the day, not really looking too much at storage of power. However, we are now busy with our second phase, which is to install a 1 megawatt battery, which will store some of the energy that we generate through our solar array to carry us through load shedding hours in the evening. And we intend to, within the next 2 to 3 years, be completely self-reliant from our power utility and run purely off battery and solar power during daylight hours as well as during load shedding.
Currently, being able to install solar is a privilege for larger businesses, with small companies lacking the capital funds to install major systems to keep the lights on. But there is a shift. EcoAfrica has recently started manufacturing a panel with nearly 7 times the capacity of their original product, and there's plenty of reason to believe that this is just the beginning.
We leave Africa and head north to Europe, where sustainable energy solutions are also being explored. Here, there might be less sun, but there is a lot of wind. A French company has devised a clever way of harnessing it with a surprising small-scale design. Check out this week's Doing Your Bit.
It looks like a plastic tree, but this tree is good for the environment. Weather conditions here in Artaz, which is home to this animal shelter, are ideal for an innovative environmental experiment. Close to the Alps, it's always windy, making it a great location for wind turbines in the guise of trees.
For us, environmental protection and animal protection go hand in hand. We decided to invest in a wind tree to generate some green energy and to steer us away from our dependency on oil and gas.
This wind tree is a hybrid model. It has 30 small wind turbines attached to the branches, which each generate electricity. And its 20 white leaves contain solar cells. Depending on the weather, this hybrid model can produce between 4,000 and 16,000 kilowatts of electricity per year. The wind trees are made in Switzerland. They're between 5 and 10 meters tall and are particularly well suited to urban areas.
Big wind turbines need to be quite far away from cities. We never see them in cities. They have to be placed on the outskirts and they require engineers. Our product is close to the consumer and doesn't require any major engineering work. The energy that's produced can be used right then and there.
One tree can potentially supply a 4-person household. So perhaps one day every garden could have one.
And how about you? If you're also doing your bit, tell us about it. Visit our website or send us a tweet. #DoingYourBit. We share your stories.
Animal protection and climate protection do make a perfect pair, because without healthy ecosystems, we won't survive. That's why we all need to consider the environmental consequences of many of the decisions we as individuals make, such as where we get our energy or what kind of work we do.
You make a good point, Chris. Here in Uganda, we have a wonderful abundance of wildlife, from chameleons and vultures to cheetahs, and of course our famous mountain gorillas. But the well-being of many of these animal populations depends on the tireless efforts of people who have dedicated their lives to protecting them.
Margaret Kasumba knows how crucial motivation is. For her and her team of rangers working for the Uganda Wildlife Authority, this is a rare moment of relaxation. They frequently put their lives on the line in order to protect their country's wildlife. Margaret Kasumba is at the vanguard of the fight against poachers in Uganda's national parks. Her job is a highly dangerous one.
Sometimes we are confronted with people who are equally armed like us, like the poachers. We have armed poaching. Sometimes people come in armed to get the animals that they want. So we have also to be armed and ready to counter what they come to do.
Uganda's elephant population is now back up to over 5,000 animals, thanks to the rangers' tireless efforts and dedication. But the fight is not over. In 2019, the authorities seized a record amount of ivory, weighing in at a total of over 3 tons of tusks, a haul that cost the lives of over 350 elephants at the hands of poachers.
On average, every year, we prosecute about 400 suspects involved in different offenses, including wildlife trafficking, poaching, illegal entry into the park, and others.
The rangers have to keep pressure on poachers by maintaining armed patrols across the national parks. Uganda has an ambitious goal to reintroduce a herd of white rhinos to the wild, 40 years after poachers wiped them out. The Ziwa Sanctuary in central Uganda is the proud home of the only wild southern white rhinos in the country. The 33 animals are guarded by rangers around the clock.
We have increased our force in numbers, and we are still increasing. We have people who are training right now, military training. They will be passing out soon. They will come to reinforce the already existing ranger force to protect the resources. We have also improved on our detection mechanisms. Our investigations unit has acquired equipment to detect wildlife crime and intelligence. They can now detect and prevent.
It's also vital, she says, that the poachers are caught and convicted. In 2019, the government drastically increased the penalties for poaching or trading protected animals.
This particular law has given us breathing space. At least as they commit offenses, the criminals know what is coming for them if we happen to get them.
Uganda now has a special court dedicated to cases involving poachers and illegal trafficking of protected animals and animal products, and the punishments are severe. Just recently, an ivory trader was given a life sentence.
For me, that is a big achievement, because all of us as a chain contributed to that. We have a court which was designated to handle wildlife-related cases. That's a very big achievement for me. Previously, we used it to grapple, competing with other cases in court, other very important cases of murder, treason, whatever. You can imagine a treason case competing with a wildlife case. Which one would be given priority to be heard?
Margaret Kasumba says that she and her colleagues from the Wildlife Authority are now being listened to. And both the politicians and the courts know that their commitment to their country's wildlife has benefits for the entire country. Recent years have seen the elephant population gradually recovering. At the same time, there's also been a slight increase in the number of endangered mountain gorillas. Margaret Kasumba is now looking forward to the endangered white rhino, soon also reappearing where it belongs, back in the wild.
We go now to Zambia, a country whose economy is closely tied to agriculture, but the sector is increasingly under threat from climate change. In the last 10 years, agriculture's contribution to the GDP has decreased from roughly 10% to just over 3%. Now, one of the challenges that farmers face is lack of access to affordable loans to try out different things. We found one solution in Lusaka.
What do bees and forests have to do with the digital world? A startup in Lusaka, Zambia is using technology to benefit farmers and nature. This is the team behind Poaching, a phone app that enables farmers to both save money and grant loans. With the app, small groups of farmers create a so-called savings circle. Members of a circle agree a fixed amount, which they then each deposit every month. Members can then either draw loans from this money pool or earn interest on their savings. Many farmers here face considerable challenges. They need money to fund solutions. In Zambia, almost 300,000 hectares of forests are cleared every year for charcoal, timber, and agricultural land.
My colleague and I actually were just discussing about what was prevailing at that time. So there was some form of drought, and most people couldn't farm, and they resorted to cutting down of trees. If they don't cut down trees to make charcoal, then what else are they going to do? Then we thought, okay, how about beekeeping?
The team suggested smallholders produce raw honey, which they would then buy, package, and resell in supermarkets. Chianika Nakasamu and his team provide free beekeeping workshops, granting the farmers an alternative to charcoal production. The bees bring other benefits too.
For example, cross-pollination. The fruits, the end product of whatever you are growing in your farm, whether they are fruity trees that you have grown, whether they are tomatoes, whether it's maize or sunflower, it's a benefit to both of you.
Philip Zulu is a small-scale maize farmer. He has diversified into beekeeping and fish farming, making him far less vulnerable to drought. Half of his farmland is now indigenous forests, ideal for bees to forage. But beehives are expensive. For 20 hives, Zulu needed the equivalent of 500 euros, an amount which he would now be able to borrow through the Pollen Savings Circle. Many farmers don't have bank accounts.
It's easier for Zulu because he doesn't actually has to produce, document for collateral, and he's getting loan from the people that he stays with in the community, and they know him. Yeah. So and that way, and the interest rate that Zulu is getting the loan is kind of cheap.
In the savings circle, farmers can agree on their own interest rates. These are typically about 5 to 10%, which is a far cry from the 50 to 100% interest often demanded by informal money lenders.
In any case, you belong to a lot of group to 10 years from later.
Philip Zulu is eager to try out the system with the new app. Pollen is in a test phase until the end of 2023. Farmers hope it will enable them to diversify and expand their small holdings.
The village banking system on the mobile, I think it would be helpful because people would see their money in circulation. People can borrow without the signing of contract agreements, as long as your balances are tarring.
The Pollen app is built with blockchain technology, a digital system that allows people to transfer money without the need for traditional banks. All transactions on the platform are recorded. Pollen should be available for farmers in 2024. In the meantime, Chianika Nakasamu is working with 2,000 beekeepers. The startup has already sold 30 tons of honey in supermarkets, a sweet way to empower farmers and protect both bees and forests at the same time.
So, sometimes the best solutions are high-tech, but sometimes traditional approaches are just as effective, and they are often simpler and faster to implement.
That's right, Sandra. In our next report, we're in northern Ghana, where animal breeders are rediscovering traditional knowledge. They're looking for indigenous expertise to cure sick animals.
Timbia Gabambil is deworming his herd today. The livestock farmer uses indigenous medicines and herbal remedies, all based on knowledge passed down to him by his grandparents. Here in Nakpasalugu, in Ghana's Upper East region, animals are vulnerable to diseases like goat plague, livestock dysentery, and parasitical infections that cause stomach bloating.
They have worms in their stomach that are making them sick. So I have to get mahogany tree bark and mix that with other native herbs and give them several doses over 3 days. This mixture kills the worms.
This knowledge of the medicinal properties of plants and herbs is invaluable, both for the region's farmers and their herds, and for researchers. That's because Timbia Gabambil is part of a major interdisciplinary project to implement ethno-veterinary medicine in Ghana. At the Center for Plant Medicine Research in the town of Mampong Akuapem, not far from the capital Accra, scientists are investigating the healing properties of native plants. The government originally established the facility to provide alternative health care to local people. Now it's carrying out research into animal health. But the laboratory here has been studying the chemical and pharmaceutical properties of plants for some time now.
Our focus was to look out for what is the chemistry of these plants, what is the biological activities of these plants, and relate them with the diseases that these farmers or innovators claim to be treating with.
In Ghana, 10% of livestock succumb to disease. In a country with few trained veterinarians, farmers often rely on the advice of cattle herders and other locals who recommend medicines sold in open markets like this one. The unregulated misuse and overuse of antibiotics can lead to high levels of antibiotic residues in animal products, and it can encourage antibiotic resistance, which affects the health of both livestock and people who consume animal products. Meanwhile, 75% of livestock in Ghana are resistant to the antibiotics used to treat them. At the same time, many livestock owners don't trust herbal medicines, which aren't scientifically tested and don't come with a company leaflet and packaging.
Once we provide this information where this project is aiming at, that would provide this evidence that these herbal medicines work against the diseases that we are studying, we would be able to prove that these medicines or innovations are good.
If herbal treatments do become more accepted, sourcing these medicinal plants will also be an issue. In Ghana, there are sacred groves that are preserved for ceremonial reasons. Local people often collect plants and herbs there for domestic use. For indigenous botanist Nyaba James Oswald Amaligo, who's the project's lead consultant, these groves are a treasure that could make a real difference to livestock farmers.
That means now they can prepare in good quantities and can serve more farmers so that they will also help in the production of animals. Therefore, their wealth is going to be increased because they will have a good number of their animals alive, and then they can sell and also make money.
As a participant in the project, Timbia Gabambil no longer has to rely on the plants in the forest. The project gave him exclusive use of an herb garden. He's one of a selected group of herbalists who are receiving support from the Ethno-Veterinary Medicine Project. On this protected patch of land, he's planting a variety of native plants, including mahogany and oak trees and dawa-dawa.
These plant species are hard to find. There aren't any more of them nearby. That's why the project is helping us to both plant and protect them, so that when we need them, they'll be easily available.
Native plant gardens are an eco-friendly source of medicines for traditional practitioners like Timbia Gabambil. If this project catches on, Ghana could become a forerunner in ethno-veterinary medicine.
That report is a good reminder that we already have many of the answers to the problems facing our planet if we just know where to look. Great to have you with us on the show. I really hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye from Kampala, right here in Uganda.
And bye from me in Nigeria. If you want to know more, check out the social media channels shown on your screen. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. Until then, bye-bye.